All right, because I know I can't do it at the same time. We give esteem, praise, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah Ba'Shem Yahushua this day. Go ahead to John 5:39. Yeah, I already know I can't do it. Be on the phone and do it. Yeah, he ain't do it. Yeah, you can't do both. John 5:39 though. John 5:39. As I try to do it to have it on my page. I know my homegirl be wanting to look at it, but you can't do both. Can't do both. John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. So with that being said, let's go to Deuteronomy 24:9. Yep, hello. That's you again, Johnny. You dropped off again, Johnny.
No, that's me.
24:9. Deuteronomy 24:9. I bring 24:9. The rehearsal. 24:9. 24:9. It says, remember what Yahuwah thy Elohim did unto Miriam. By the way, after that ye will come forth out of Mizraim. Do y'all know what he did to Miriam when they came out? He said you need to remember that. So since he said you need to remember that, then it means we need to look at it and why you need to remember it. What happened to Miriam? Because he told you need to remember that, so we need to see why you need to remember it. Who remembers what happened to her? Exodus, Numbers chapter 12. Then. Numbers chapter 12. Let's see what happened to her then. He said you need to remember that. Numbers chapter 12. Numbers 12:1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have Yahuwah indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And Yahuwah heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which are upon the face of the earth. And Yahuwah spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam. Come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. And Yahuwah came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words, if there be a prophet among you, I, Yahuwah, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. Now he said, there be a prophet among you. He said, I'll make myself known to him. He said, you need to remember Miriam and what happened to her. So let's look at about verse 9. Saying the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my master, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he come out of his mother's womb. Now they're going to look at this in Hebrew. He said, don't let her be dead now. He said, don't lay this sin to us, what we done sinned. So what was the sin that they committed? What was the sin that they committed? Huh? I mean, they reviled the ruler of our people. They talked bad about the man who was leading the people. And we're going to look at that in the law in a minute. But let's look at this in Numbers chapter 12. And let's look at something for this word leprous. Because it says she became leprous. You know, we dealt with leprosy and the time past of what it can be a similar to. So the word for leprosy is sarah. It means to be diseased of skin. To have a disease of the skin. And then he turned around and said, let her not be as one dead, whom flesh is half consumed. So we need to look at that too. So don't let her be one that's dead. And that word there, let, is just one sentence. It's not. Now we pray now, please, used in entreaty. Used in entreaty. That means you're asking this man to say, don't let me. of a flesh that is half consumed. So when we look at flesh, we see the word basar. And we know that's just the body of itself. Now we're just leading the son. That's why he tell you need to remember this. We're going to look at consumed. It is a call. It means to eat, devour up, burn up, feed, to be devoured, consumed of, to be wasted or destroyed. And look at coming out of the mother's womb. We look at womb. It's Rechem. You know, it's woman, slave, woman, two women. So when he sits back and he say, lay not this sin upon us, we've done foolishly. You got Aaron, who was the high priest for all intents and purposes. All right, hold on. Let's just let me do it like this. Come over here to Exodus chapter 4. Hold this number chapter 12. Just show you a similar to the Sunday. Or what's really going on here and what this is talking about and why you need to remember what happened to her. Look at Exodus chapter 4. See, that's what I want. Make sure that's what I want. Make sure that's what I want. No, it ain't. I'm trying to call. Go sit downstairs. Look at that, Exodus 4. That's not where it's at. What I'm thinking about. Ain't it though? There it is. I was looking right at it. Exodus 4 and 14. I was looking right at it. I don't know what I was thinking about. Exodus 4 and 14. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Moses, and he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he come forth to meet thee, and when he see thee, he will be glad in his heart. Thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And now the reason why you sit back and look at it, he say, I'm going to take him, I'm going to put words in his mouth. That's what he sit back and told this man. Hold on, listen. Yeah. All right. So he's going to put words in his mouth. Let's look at the next thing that he say. Verse 16, and he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. And he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. And thou shalt be to him instead of Elohim. So for all intents and purposes, he made Aaron the prophet. He made Moses Elohim. Now come back to number chapter 12 now, because he said you need to remember what happened to Miriam in the wilderness. There's a reason why he told you need to remember what happened to her. And you need to remember it. The man gave you an instruction for you to remember. So let's read it again. Exodus 12 and 10. Numbers 12 and 10, I'm sorry. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my master, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he come out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto Yahuwah, saying, Heal her now, O Elohim, I beseech thee. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, she should not be ashamed 7 days. Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days. And after that, let her be received again. But let's turn around and let's look at it as let her not be as one dead whose flesh is half consumed when he come out the mother's womb. That's what we need to sit back and look at first. And then also sit back. What you seeing is you seeing Aaron beseeching God. You see the prophet beseeching Elohim to have mercy, to go to the Father and have mercy. That's what you really seeing. Because remember, he said Moses was be to Aaron as Elohim. That's what's going on here. So let me sit back and I would like to see how we'll work this here. I think it's Matthew 22 I want to say. Let me see if it's Matthew 22. It might not be Matthew 22 that I'm thinking about. It's in my head what I'm thinking about. It's escaping me right now. It is escaping me right now what I'm thinking about. It is escaping me what I'm thinking about. It's this particular story that I'm thinking about. It's in my head. You're going to find it in a second. Look at Matthew about 15 and 20, I say. That's really what I'm thinking about. That's about Matthew 15 and 20. And just the statement that's being made is what I wanted in Matthew 15 and 20. And then there's something else. Matthew 15 and 20, or 21. Matthew 15 and 21.
Stop.
Matthew 15 and 21. Matthew 15 and 21. Man, this woman here, man.
Stop.
You wait that long? Well, black people are tripping. Well, I promise I'll tell you. Then Yahushua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Zidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O master, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cry after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Yashar'al. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Master, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. She said, Truth, master. Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Yahushua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very instant. Now we sitting back looking at it this way. We sitting back looking at it this here, right? We see a woman. We see Aaron beseeching Yahuwah to take off a vexation off of Miriam. Because Miriam went to run her mouth. Now you don't see that right here in this instance. But what we're looking at is an intercession for sin. Because he say, please, lest this flesh be consumed. You know, in Psalm 51, this was coming in my head when I was looking at that. He said, I was shapen in iniquity from my mother's womb. Your flesh was halfway consumed from the time you came out the womb. Matter of fact, what's the verse that's in my head, man? I'm trying to think about this here. Look at Galatians 4 and 1, I think. Matter of fact, go to Hebrews 9 and about 23. Remember, leprosy is a similitude of death. It's a disease of the skin. Your flesh is diseased. That's why if Job would say, by reason of my disease, my garment is changed. You know what I'm saying? And this going to tie into something a little later. Hebrews 9 and about 23. It was therefore necessary that the patterns of the things in Shamahim should be purified with these. But the heaven that the things of Shamahim themselves were better sacrifices than these. For Mashiach is not entered into the Kadesh place made with hands, which are figures of the truth, but into Shamahim itself, now to appear in the presence of Elohim for us. Nor yet that he should offer himself often as the high priest, and into the Kadesh place every year with the blood of others. But then he must often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now once in the end of the world, he have appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. Now the reason why we direct this here, because you know our brother had a definite family. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this to y'all right this here right. Because I think sometimes, boy, you know what I was telling Pell this here earlier today. It's somebody who got up today and they ain't know they was dying today. You know what I'm saying? They did not know that this was you got some people, they know their last day was coming because they got a terminal illness or something. You know what I'm saying? Well, they know, boy, it's possible. I could leave here today. But it's somebody that just died just now that they didn't have no idea that they were going to leave him. Now he say, please, you know, don't let her flesh be as one half consumed from the womb. Because the minute you come out the womb, you already consumed. You consumed and enveloped with death because you got this flesh on you and it has to be changed. Look at Proverbs 27:1 if I'm not mistaken. And then go to James chapter 4 about verse 13. Leah, Mike, don't do it again. 27 and 1 of the book of Proverbs. Listen what he tell you. And then after that James 4 and about 14 or 13, get Matthew 6. This man say, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou know not what a day may bring forth. You know what I'm saying? We don't really know what the next day gonna bring. It's just sometimes you get caught in a trap that you steady been going, but you really don't know what the next day gonna bring. It's a lot of, I'm talking about, boys, most people who died, boy, they did not think this was gonna be their last day living. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, knowing that this is appointed unto men once to die, and then after that the judgment, you have to make sure you ready. See, when you seen Aaron asking Moses not to lay that sin to their charge that they had to commit it, he's beseeching the intercessor. See, what we're looking at is, Yahushua was made as Elohim. Who else can remove a sin and punish for sin but Elohim? Hamashiach has that power. Showing y'all here a prophet made like unto Moses. Because Moses had his power, this man's an intercessor. He made him as Elohim. I don't see how dudes overlook that and miss that when they say that Yahushua was not Elohim in the flesh when he made Moses as Elohim. It's clear as day. It's right there. It's right there. It ain't hidden. It ain't a mystery. It's right there in your face. James 4 and 13 though. I guess they just thought Yahuwah just would tell him Moses that because he just thought that was something cool to say. Four and 13, James, the epistle of James. It says, go to now ye that say, today or tomorrow, we go into such and such city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appear for a little time and then vanish away. For that ye ought to say, if the Yahuwah will, we shall live and do this or that. But now you rejoice in your boastings. All such rejoicing is evil. So when we sit back and we say things like, I'm going to do this tomorrow, you're not constantly saying, you boasting in your pride that you just know you're going to be alive as if you have control over these things. He said your boastings in that is evil. Therefore to him that know to do good and do it not, to him it is sin. Hello? Matthew 6 and 33. Hello? Yeah. How you doing, brother? All right. Yes, sir. Let's look at Matthew 6 and 33. Make it 31. 6 and 31. I'm telling you, man, y'all got to realize that, man. You don't know when you're going to leave here. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure your soul ready right now. You don't let these people get you caught up in the luxury and think you got a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, a year to get right. You got to be right. You got to be ready before he get here. And when him getting here don't necessarily mean his physical return. When he decide to require your soul, you got to already be right. Lizzie, sit down somewhere. Sit down, Elizabeth. Let me tell y'all something, right? Because I just seen somebody say this. Oh, when Hamashiach get back, he going to correct everything. Where you read that in the book that it ever said that he would do that? He never told you he was going to do that. And Yahuwah never told you that the man was going to do that. That man ain't coming to set nothing in order when he get back here because it was already supposed to be set in order before he came. Did not Peter tell you that this earth will be burnt up with fervent heat? What manner of people you ought to be in all manner of godliness and Kadesh conduct? If you follow Mashiach, you supposed to already be in order. Don't let nobody make no fool out of you, man. That's the type of stuff that make you don't have your soul ready. You know what I'm saying? Dudes like to argue about a lot of stuff. But boy, if this man were to come visit you right now, is your soul ready? This man say he'll sin or find you out. In the day of your sin, I will visit. He came and visited this people. He even came and visited the Mashiach. See, I supposed to went over that Wednesday, and I guess I'm gonna hit it today. He came and visited the master for his sin. His sin found him out too. Well, some people be like, well, he didn't commit no sin. How did his sin find him out? It was the sins of Yashar'al that found him out. He became Yashar'al. He took their sins on, so it had to find him out. And the Father visited him for it. So since he visited him for your sin, you don't think this man gonna come visit you for what you doing? If he got visited for what you did and you still doing it, and you don't think he gonna come see you. So common sense would tell you to be ready. Why you think he kept telling you to be ready? Why you think he gave you all them parables about the marriage supper and all these things about watching? Because you supposed to be ready. You supposed to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to see a man, somebody be like, you know, I just couldn't be what you wanted to be fast enough. It wasn't about anybody trying to be what I wanted them to be quickly. It's about having that sense of urgency to know you don't know if you got 5 minutes from now. How can you be that complacent? You don't know if you got 5 minutes from now. Brother Pell was telling me, he said he had gotten in a car accident. His uncle was like, yeah, man, I'm going to come see you tomorrow. Say his uncle died of a heart attack that night. That night. You don't know if you got 5 minutes from now. You don't know that. Hello? Hello? Shalom. Like you don't know if you got 5 minutes from now. That's why I be telling y'all like certain stuff, man, like being prompt and all that, everything, man. Because if we dragging our feet, that means we not ready. Everything we look at, we got to be ready. Because this man can come visit at any time. If this man come visit you tonight and say, I require your soul, are you ready? That's something you got to think about. You don't know when you're going to leave here. That's why he say when the cares and affairs of this life, it choke off the word. Can't bring forth no fruit. Because we get caught up in all that stuff. It just choke the word all the way off. Because we worry about everything else. That's why we came to Matthew 6. Because all this other stuff will take care of itself. 6 and 31 though. 6 and 31. Therefore take no thought saying what we shall eat, what we shall drink of, and wherewith shall we be clothed. For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your Father in Shamahim know that you have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. That's why Solomon came back and told you don't boast about tomorrow. You don't know what that day gonna bring. You don't know what it's gonna bring. You don't even know if you're gonna see tomorrow. You don't even know you're gonna see 20 minutes from now. You can't never get complacent as if you just gonna stay alive and keep breathing. Back to Numbers chapter 12. Back to Numbers chapter 12. We know what Hebrews 7 say. We looked at it the other day. This man here to make intercession on your behalf. Even when you sit back and we're going to look at something in Numbers chapter 12. Because we looking at number 12 because in that Deuteronomy 24 where we started at, he said you need to remember what happened to Miriam. So if he's telling you you need to remember it, that means we need to go back and look at what happened to her because you need to remember it. He wasn't telling you to remember it because he just thought it was a cool statement to make. That ain't why he told you that. He told you you needed to remember it for a reason. Because you need to look at that story and then examine what occurred. So we know they spoke against Moses. I mentioned it. Let's look at Exodus 22. Let's see what they did. Let's see what law they violated. Why he said don't lay this sin at our charge. Exodus 22 and 28. Hello? Hello?
Shalom, this is Kia.
How you doing, Kia?
Good, and you?
I'm doing all right. Let's look at this Exodus 22 and 28. Now it says, thou shalt not revile the gods nor curse the ruler of thy people. Now, of course, we know in this verse, that word for God in that verse is going to be Elohim. And it means rulers, judges, divine ones, Malachim, gods, God-like one, work or special possessions of God. Or the true Elohim. The reason why we look at it is because we already read in Exodus chapter 4 that he told Moses that he would make him as Elohim. So when they were shooting their mouth off, they were speaking against Elohim. And this is showing you something later on, that a lot of people do it. I guess we're going to have to go and look at it. Let's go and look at the Epistle of Jude. I look at it all the time because it need to be looked at. So they sin, and what they charged was they were speaking against Moses. Because they were speaking against Elohim. They had broke Exodus 22:8. They reviled, they cursed the ruler, they were running their mouth. That sounds a lot familiar how these dudes be out here blaspheming Mashiach and a lot of the stuff that they be saying out their mouth. And they feel like, oh, screw JC, Yahushua, Yahusha, whatever you call him. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you call him, screw him. He's an idol. Not knowing that if there's a man that be made a prophet like unto Moses, then you have to look at this stuff. This is also an example of where you can tell that dudes really don't know the law like that. And they want to say Yahushua, son of Nun, was the prophet made like unto Moses, when you don't never read where Yahushua, son of Nun, was made like Elohim, or where he even called him that. Because he told Moses that. You don't even read where he spoke to Yahushua, son of Nun, in direct speech and not in dark sentences and similitudes. You don't even read where he put his word in his mouth like he put it in Moses' mouth. But nevertheless, what I just asked for? Jude. Yeah, Epistle Jude. Thank you, sir. About verse 10. We're going to sit back and look at what they cursed the ruler of our people. We're going to sit back and see they did the same thing. And why the master made the statement that he made on the stake in the same token. If I can get the Epistle of Jude, we might do something. It ain't verse 10 that we want, though. Well, I guess we will use verse 10 because it works well nonetheless. And it says, but these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, and those things they corrupt themselves. Now, you notice a lot of people speak against the master, and they speak against those things, and they don't know what they're talking about. That's why I say you do err and you don't know the scriptures. This is why I'm mentioning this here. Because a lot of dudes don't really know what the book say. They really don't know what it say. You got a lot of dudes, they flex real decent. But in actuality and truth, they really don't know what the law say. Because if they really knew what the law said, I don't see how they could even go against Mashiach. That's why Paul stated in Acts chapter 13, he said every Sabbath day the word is read and the veil is still over their eyes every time Moses and the prophets is read. They still can't see it. So when he say this here, they say, but what they know naturally is Bruce beef, they corrupt themselves. See, that's why he say, don't let her be as one that come out of her flesh be consumed as one that come out of her mother's womb. See, when you come out the womb, you're a natural man. All you're going to know is the flesh. You're going to be carnal. That's why Paul told you the Torah is spiritual. You're supposed to delight after the inward man. It's supposed to take you from being a natural man to a spiritual man. It's supposed to cause a conversion. This is why Psalms 19:7 say the Torah of Yahuwah convert the soul. So it's supposed to change you from being natural to spiritual. But if all you know is the flesh, then you're going to walk in the flesh. That's why he say those without understanding are like brute beasts. That's why he say the natural man cannot understand the things of the spirit of Elohim. He's not spiritually discerned. He's saying the Ruach of truth, which the world cannot receive because the world know it not. So that's why the book say if you don't know the Torah, you cursed. You don't know the law, you going to hell. Knowing the law is more than just I keep the Sabbath, I don't eat pork. It's more to it than that. Because the book say the Torah is your schoolmaster to bring you to Mashiach. So it's supposed to be pointing you to him. What we looking at with Aaron going to Moses, asking him to have mercy on Miriam, is the same way of Yahusha going to the Father to have mercy on Yashar'al. Because we're a leprous, diseased people. Because we spoke harshly against our Elohim on the regular. We're going to see what I'm talking about in a minute. Hold on. These are spots in your feast of, woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the heir of Balaam, for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah. See, you sit back and you look at it. It's three wicked people they didn't mention. Cain was jealous of his brother, because his works were righteous and his were not. Balaam ran after money. See, you know how a lot of people get done in? You sitting back and you looking at, you want something from Elohim. It don't come in the time frame that you wanted to come. Somebody's coming up with that reward of sin right in your face and you go after it. I just told the sister this earlier today. Nothing that Yahuwah gives you will cause you to go out of the way. If you have to go out of the way to get it, it's not of Yahuwah. It doesn't matter what it's offering. It doesn't matter what they're presenting. That's not Yah. That's not him. Yah wouldn't give you nothing to take you out of the way. What you did is you did just what Balaam did. You ran after you had that era of greed. You ran after that. Then when you run after that, you get destroyed. You get cut off. Because that's a lack of patience. See, Balaam wasn't patient. That's why he ran after that. He got his reward. And that lack of patience shows the lack of faith in Elohim is what it shows. Because you couldn't wait on him because you wanted what you wanted now. That's why he say the deceitfulness of riches choke off the word where it can't bring forth no fruit. The deceitfulness of riches cut off Balaam. And if we ain't careful, it'll cut off us. These are spots in your feast of love when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit twice dead, plucked up by the roots. That man say twice dead. Because see, after the death there come judgment. See, if you walk around here and you sinning, you twice dead. Because not only did you not natural death, you going to hell after that. See, we'll sit back and look at something. He say trees whose fruit wither, without fruit. All you got to do is sit back and look at that parable. We're not going to read it. Look at that parable when the master went to that fig tree and about Luke 13. And it didn't bring forth no fruit. He say, man, cursed be this fig tree. And it withered and died. If you're not bringing forth the fruits of righteousness, if you don't have the manifestation of the fruits of the Ruach, or that the Spirit is in you, you are twice dead. Because your flesh is already consumed from your mother's womb. You twice dead. Why you think Aaron was beseeching that? No. Say, please, don't lay that sin out our charge. That's why he's telling you to remember Miriam and what happened to her. You speak against Elohim. Speaking against Elohim is just more than just running your mouth. It's living contrary to the word you're speaking against him. Then you're going to get the reward of Miriam. That's why he's telling you to remember. Raging waves of the sea foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch, also the seventh from Adam, prophesied, saying, behold, the master come with 10,000 of his Kadeshim, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and all of their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouths speak great swelling words, having many persons in admiration because of advantage. See, that's where Aaron and Miriam were problem with. That's where they messed up at. See, they had them hard speeches against Moses because they were walking after their own lust. They say, has not Yahuwah spoken by us too? Why Moses get like this here? They had men's person in admiration because of advantage. Hello? Hello? Yeah. See, like that's that John 5 and 44 again. How can you believe that seek honor one from another, not the honor that comes from Yahuwah only? That's what Aaron and Miriam were looking at. They wanted honor from men. They looking at, hey man, we doing this stuff here too, man. Walking after their own lust. You have to be careful with that because what you're looking at is pride. It's very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Let's go back to Numbers chapter 12. I be telling y'all all the time, everybody want to be the man. Everybody want to be seen to be the most knowledgeable and have the most precepts or have the most people following behind them, the bigger congregation and all that stuff. You thinking, oh man, that's just the Christian church. A lot of Hebrews on the same type of stuff. It's just pride. Worrying about the wrong things.
You got that at your lawn?
12 and 11.
Get ready to cut the grass.
And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my master, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he come out of his mother's womb. Let's sit back and let's look at that again. Let's look at Luke 23 and 33. We also got to sit back and look at how the people blasphemed or they spoke hard against the master. I would be remiss if we didn't do that. 23 and 33. At the book of Luke. Where my other book at? Dang. Luke 23 and 33. And when they were coming to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactor on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Yahushua, Abba, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. And the people stood beholding him, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, he saved others. Let him save himself, if he be Mashiach, the chosen of Elohim. And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him, offering in vinegar, saying, if thou be the king of the Yahudim, save thyself. And a superscription also was written over him in the letters of Greek and Latin and Abrim, this is the Malach of the Yahudim. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, if thou be Mashiach, save thyself. You looking at all these people reviling the gods and cursing the ruler of thy people. Now, when we turn around and we look at them cursing the ruler of their people, we're going to sit back and see that in a moment. Y'all should have a general sense of what that is. But you see them running their mouth. And you see that, and you're going to sit back and you say, well, you see the man say, hey, man, we've done foolishly. Don't lay this sin at our charge. Look what this thief say out his mouth. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, dost thou not fear Elohim, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? See, Aaron turned around and looked at that he was in the same condemnation as Miriam was. And he considered, once he seen the plague that was laid on. He said, and we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds, but this man have done nothing amiss. And he said unto Yahushua, Master, remember me when thou come into thy kingdom. Yahushua said unto him, truly I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. You know, a lot of people say, see that right there? See, you can be saved on your deathbed. See, all you got to do is just say this here. See, you can be saved. But who remembers why this happened to this man in this fashion? Let's see if anybody on their phone though. Who remembers why this happened like this here out the law? Oh, extra quiet. Joseph. You know what I'm saying? That's why that happened. Oh, what it is this here, brother. When you see a lot of people wonder why one thief got spared and one thief got damned. Well, it goes back to when Joseph was in the prison with the baker and the butler. One of the butlers one got killed and the other got spared. So when we see this situation happening in this story, that's where it comes from. You know, a lot of people don't know why it's there. Or what's the significance of it. You know what I'm saying? It's also showing that Yahuwah will have compassion on whom he'll have compassion. And have mercy on whom he'll have mercy. But it was also the wisdom of this man's words. You know what I'm saying? It was his faith that, it's also giving an example of it's his faith that got him spared. You know what I'm saying? Now, this also don't give people, see, but this is what most people use to say, see, you could just be a sinner all your life and then right before you finna die, that's all you got to do. And they're going to be for a rude awakening when they open their eyes again. Because all this story was in here for was to fulfill the book. You know what I'm saying? Not to give you that Christian understanding, not to saying that you got one, but we know that's where that comes from. Or just you can live any way you want to live, and when you get ready to die, just say, God, I'm sorry, forgive me. I believe in Jesus with my whole heart. And then die and think you're straight. You know, that gives a lot of people false sense of hope.
And you know what you can say with that too?
I can believe it, bro. Go ahead.
What you call it? You know how you say everybody gonna hear it before they get out of here?
Oh yeah, you hear before you leave. That's how they hear.
Yeah, that was them. That was they. One of them believe, one of them didn't. They hear it before they get out of here.
Yeah, everybody hear the word before you leave here. You know, it's a lot of people went to hell because they had a terminal illness, and then people want to come in there and read the word to them before they die. You know what I'm saying? You got to realize that I told y'all this last week. It don't matter if it's a false prophet or not. The word is right. You know what I'm saying? Because the nigga you heard it might be evil, that don't change that the word is right, and you still going to hell because you heard his word. A lot of people think, oh, it's a false prophet, I'm straight. Or he evil, I'm straight. I was talking to a brother last night. This stuff here tripped me out. This brother real knowledgeable in the word, man. The nigga been cheating on his wife for years. They talking about this nigga jumped out of building to stop get killed because he was out here selling dope. And niggas was finna kill him. You know what I'm saying? And you in the word. How you know the word of Yahuwah and go back to selling rocks? But I was telling the brother, like, bro, that nigga been cut off and going to hell. Because one thing I noticed, boy, a lot of Hebrews, they pick and choose who they want to say evil and wicked. Oh, we shouldn't do brothers like that, man. We ought to be patient with brothers. Man, if you know a nigga been doing evil for 10 years, you don't know y'all done cut that nigga off. You think you going to get a 10-year run of knowingly committing sin? Like, how you know the word and you still go cheat on your wife? And you think y'all just going to keep overlooking that? How you know the word and go sell rocks? How you do that? Where they do that at? And y'all think, and people think y'all just gonna overlook that because we the people. Man, that don't mean nothing. That nigga's wicked. And a lot of brews won't just come out and say it. Man, that nigga's wicked. Because you cool with him or you like him. Damn, bump that. Well, the book say make mark in them that walk contrary to the doctrine which you have received and avoid them. Why you think that Miriam had to get put out the camp for 7 days? She had to be marked with leprosy, put outside the camp, avoid her. And you can't live any kind of way, man, and think that man just cool with that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, bro, this nigga know the word. How you giving people counsel on the word and you can't counsel to keep your penis in your pants and you think y'all overlook that? Like, you know what you doing. You know what you're doing. So when you do that, you are cursing the ruler of your people and you reviling the God. You are purposely disrespecting this man. You are purposely saying, having hard speeches right in his face. They say actions speak louder than words. So your actions are saying, F you nigga, buster, you ain't gonna do nothing. Please forgive me. I'm finna go slap this nigga in his face again though. That's what you doing to him. That's how he take it too. That's how he take it too. I noticed that in the 7 years I've been dealing with the word, boy. Hebrews won't call nobody out, boy. Only if they don't like you or they feel like you part of One West or something. They'll call them out. But they feel like, we the people, you shouldn't do that. You know, we ought to be patient with each other, brother. Man, that nigga evil, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no respect of person. Nigga wicked, he wicked. Nigga, I don't care who don't like. Why you think they ain't like the master? Because the master wouldn't walk around here, we all kumbaya, we all people. You know, no. Nigga, you wicked. You wicked. All you niggas wicked. Everybody's wicked. Straight up. You know, people don't like that. He told you the world is going to hate you because he testified of it that his works were evil. See, we don't want to do that because we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Man, screw them nigga feelings, man. Matthew 26, man, screw them nigga feelings, man. Screw them nigga feelings, man. If a nigga so worried about his feelings, he'd stop sinning. So he can't be too worried about it. So you know what they know their next excuse is? Everybody sin. Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. And when you tell somebody that don't mean nothing. You just tell them, man, speak for yourself, bro. Don't sit around here and speak for everybody else. Speak for yourself. Hello? Hello?
Shalom.
Yeah, all right. Shalom, Deidre. 57, 26. They that lay hold on Yahushua led him away to Capheus, the high priest, where the scribes and elders were assembled.
That's the do.
But Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and the elders and all the council saw false witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though came many false witnesses, yet they found none. And at the last came 2 false witnesses. And said, this fellow said, I'm able to destroy the temple of Elohim. Shayla. About to go crazy last night. I thought I was going to have to stop her from leaving the house last night.
You said who?
Thought we were going to have to stop Shayla from leaving the house last night.
I was so serious.
I know you were serious. I know you were serious.
What?
No, because they would have late night ball session.
What verse you read? I ain't know nothing.
Matthew 26 and 56 or 57.
What?
Shayla hit me like, you call William, please.
Stop that, what?
She said, I'm finna go out here in the streets and look for him. Like, Shayla, where was you going to go?
I got mad, but that ain't no good feeling. I ain't show up that night.
But I'm talking about, like this here, but where was she going to go?
Hey, there's normal spots. First spot was the gym. Yeah. First spot was the gym.
Because you know we don't go nowhere.
That's why I was in contact the wife next.
Is Will over there?
Boy, Shayla was going to come out the house with that gun, boy. She was going to come like this here. You know what to do. You know what to do. Yeah, she was like this here. You know what to do. 26 and 57. I'll read it again for you, brother. Matthew 26 and 57. And they that lay hold on Yahushua led him away to Capheus, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace and went in. Hello? Hello? What's going on, little bro? And sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and the elders and all the council sought false witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none. Hey, little Mike, sit down somewhere. All y'all sit down. Every last one of y'all sit down. Everybody sit down. Leah, Lizzie, sit down. Don't get up no more. And this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of Elohim and build it in 3 days. The high priest arose and said unto him, Answer thou nothing? What is it which these witnesses against thee? But Yahushua held his peace, and the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living Elohim, that thou tell us whether thou be the Mashiach, the son of Elohim. Yahushua saith unto him, Thou hast said, nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, coming in the clouds of Shamahim. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now you have heard his blasphemy. The man ain't blasphemed now time. But they went to quickly ready to revile the man. You know what happened after that? They slapped him. See, they cursed him. Say don't curse the ruler of our people. Galatians 3 and 13, so you can see how they cursed the ruler of our people. Matter of fact, don't even look at that right there. Just go to Deuteronomy 22. To show it to you out the law. You just show y'all some stuff out the law for some of y'all that don't know this stuff in the law. It's very important that you know what the law says. When you know what the law says, you see how Mashiach fulfilled this stuff clear as day. And then we'll complete Numbers 12 and slide right back to Deuteronomy 24. I'm sorry, that's Deuteronomy 21. My apologies. Deuteronomy 21 and 22. Not Deuteronomy 22, but Deuteronomy 21 and 22. Lil Mike, if you don't sit your rusty behind down somewhere. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that hangeth is accursed of Elohim, that the land be not defiled, which Yahuwah the Elohim give thee for an inheritance. Now we know they took the master and hung him on the tree. They cursed the ruler of our people by hanging him from this tree, because you knew these chief priests and scribes knew hanging this man on the tree was a curse. And they turned around and they broke this law. They turned around and they did that. See, Aaron and Miriam broke the law by reviling the ruler of our people, or the gods of our people, by running their mouth. So what it is, Acts 22, let's see what Paul was in that same situation. He had to catch himself because he didn't know. He didn't know who he was talking to. See, is that Acts 22 or is it 24? My page is all gone by this book. Good grief. You know, you have to sit back and you have to realize that it's aware of us that we know this stuff. So when we turn around and you look at it, don't get upset when you see people talking against the master. They just doing what the book say. Acts 23:1. They just doing what the book say. Somebody got to do it. Somebody has to do it. And Paul earnestly beholding the council said, men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before Elohim until this day. This is what I was telling y'all earlier, why you got to be ready. See, this man said, I live with a good mind towards Elohim to this day. Are we able, hey, Sire, are we able to say with confidence that you living with a good conscience towards Elohim? Come on. Are you able to say that?
Yeah, you too. Come on.
Can you say that you got a good conscience towards Elohim? Come on. Hello. Yes. And the high priest Ananias commanded them that they stood by to smite him on the mouth. Okay, you go now. I just want to say hello. Bye-bye. Go with your mommy. You got a mean fro going on that side.
She look like Lizzie.
Don't she look? She got her Lizzie fro going on. What you say, baby? I ain't got it. So listen to what I said, right? You know, they slapped the master in his mouth in John 18, right? And he say, if I said evil, okay. Matter of fact, let's look at that John 18. Cause I just like the way the master said it to him. Just to be honest. I just like the way he said it to him. This whole that Act 23, we come right back. I didn't like the way he said it to him. He said, don't smite me contrary to the law, because the law tell you just can't hit a man just to hit him now. He got to do something wrong. You just can't walk up and just slap somebody because you feel like you can slap him. That's why the master ain't say nothing when they slapped him after he had been convicted. You know the book say 40 lashes. You just can't be walking around slapping people. Shoot. If that's the case, then some niggas would have been slapped messing with me. John 18 and 20, 18 and 19. There's a lot of people around here need to be smited. Slap right upside their head. Slap him. The high priest then asked Yahushua of his disciples and of his doctrine. Yahushua answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whether the Yahudim always resort. And in secret have I said nothing. Why ask thou me? Ask them which heard me what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. See, the master got a good conscience towards Elohim just like Paul did. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Yahushua with the palm of his hand, saying, answer thou the high priest so? Because it's the ruler of the people, right? It's the high priest. But he didn't even sit back and consider something. Yahushua is the high priest. I'm over you. So I ain't breaking that law. This is why he say, you going to smite me contrary to the law? I am the God and the ruler of the people. What you mean? See, they didn't realize that though. See, Yahushua said, and Yahushua answered him, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smite thou me? He said, look here, man, if I did something wrong, let that be known. But if not, nigga, what you put your hands on me for, bro? Straight up, that's pretty much what he told him. If I did something wrong, then you bear witness of what I did wrong. If not, why you put your hands on me, bro? Now let's turn around and let's look at Paul. See if he's in that same situation. See, you let some of these wicked niggas tell us, see, that's how you knew the New Testament false. It's not the same situation. Because Paul's situation was different. What he said, because Paul repented of that once he was made aware of it. See, the master sitting back looking at, I can't break Exodus 22 and 28 because I'm over you, sir. You're a high priest after a carnal commandment. I'm a high priest after an oath. You better go sit down somewhere. You cursing me, be honest. I'm your ruler. I've been made prince of Yashar'al and to give repentance and forgiveness of sins. Hey, son. Come on then. Yep, because you just look like you was just not going to settle for that. So that's just what it is then. So verse 2, and the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by to smite him on the mouth. Then Paul said unto him, Elohim shall smite thee, thou witted wall, for thou sit to judge me after the Torah, and command me to be smitten contrary to the Torah. And they stood by and said, revile thou Elohim's high priest? Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was high priest. For it is written, thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. So that's what people be messing up at. They speak evil of the ruler of the people. They were speaking evil of Moses. They speak evil of Mashiach. And you're going to go to hell for that. That's a serious, serious offense. And this is why he told you to remember what Miriam did in the wilderness. So we have to make sure that we're not cursing the rule of our people and reviling God's high priest by walking contrary to this man's word, by speaking against him, by living any kind of way. And definitely not by blaspheming, by saying that he is not the son of the living Elohim. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 24. It's 10 o'clock. We'll spend enough time on that for right now. And there go that rain they said will come. They claimed it was supposed to rain. Hey, baby. You all right? What's wrong, side? 2 to 24 and what? 10? I'll read 9 again. You got to get down now, okay? Come on.
Oh, there she go. I'm looking for her.
Go ahead. Go. Remember what Yahuwah the Elohim did unto Miriam, by the way, after you were come forth out of Mizraim. Basically, it's her smite. She got put outside the camp and she got smitten with leprosy. You need to remember that. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember that when it come down to, you don't want to speak over the people who, basically what this is telling you back is, and you just came right on back. You just weren't going for that. Look at Hebrews 13 and really what the basis of what we talking about. And then come back. Let's see, he's putting it in my mind, so I guess we got to do it. Hebrews 13 and 11, I want to say. It's Hebrews 13 and 17. But we'll look at 15. No, you can't get up here, baby. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Elohim continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for which sacrifice, with such sacrifices Elohim is well pleased. Obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, for that they may do it with joy, and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Pray for us, we trust we have a good conscience, in all things that we live honestly. But I beseech you rather to do this, that I might be restored to you sooner. Now the Elohim of Shalom brought again from the dead our master Yahushua, the great shepherd of the sheep, through the blood of the everlasting covenant. Make you perfect in every good work to do his will, working in you that which is well pleasing in his sight, through Yahushua HaMashiach, to whom be esteemed forever and ever, so be it. Now he told you to obey them to have rule over you, so it could be profitable for you. See, it didn't end up being profitable for the people. See, let's go back to what we were looking at Wednesday. Moses, the people grieved Moses because they didn't want to obey them that had rule over them. Therefore, he ended up hitting the rock instead of speaking to it. And it ended up not being profitable for the people. Because he ended up having to do it with grief because they were grieving him because of their behavior. Because they didn't want to listen and they didn't want to follow him. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people, when you look at a lot of Hebrews, just to be honest, like I can't speak to the Christian church structure because I wasn't never a part of it. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed that when they come into this right here, except for a few because you know them niggas in New York, they don't have them issues. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas follow the structure. They follow the order. They walk in that. They look at this man here at the top. They follow orders. Now, of course, you shouldn't be following orders and somebody telling you to go contrary to the word. That's common sense. You know what I'm saying? That's common sense. Why would you listen to somebody tell you go contrary to the word? But you're supposed to obey them to have rule over you. See, Aaron and Miriam was sitting back looking at, we can do the same thing that you doing. Why we got to do this and why we got to do that? Messed them up. Got Miriam excommunicated out the camp for 7 days. She got diseased. It almost got her cut off. Because what we were looking at, pride and having men's persons and admiration because of advantage. Because you were worrying about looking good before men. That's what a lot of people problem is. That's why you need to remember what happened to Miriam when you came by the way. And don't get caught up in that and don't let that happen. Because of wanting to be seen of men, she opened her mouth and it got her kicked out the camp. It got her dead. He said, don't let her die as one as her flesh consumed coming out the womb. Had to pray for death not to come on you. You finna die because you spoke against Elohim. That's why he said, I got to execute judgment on you ungodly sinners for your hard speeches and your ungodly words. It's just a similitude of something where you sit back and look at, not calling Miriam ungodly, but seeing why the statement is being made. Deuteronomy 24 and 10. The reason why he told you to remember that, because you need to remember it. I mean, that's a commandment for you to remember what happened to Miriam. I mean, you commanded forever to remember that. It's just not a story. It's just not your history. It's for you to remember an action that somebody did. It's for you to remember that. Because if you don't remember it, you're going to make the same mistake. Matter of fact, look at Romans 15 and 3. Romans 15 and 3. Make it 15 and 1. Ain't nobody but Lizzie. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. Let every one of us please his neighbor to his good to edification. That's what y'all need to sit back and look at. You ought to sit back and look to sit back to please your neighbor by instructing him. Like, it ain't nothing for you to call me and ask me about nothing. Because you ought to seek to please your brother instead of pleasing yourself. That's where a lot of Hebrews mess up at. See, when you turn around and you look at the mistake that Aaron and Miriam made, that they were seeking to please themselves. They weren't seeking to please their neighbors. They wanted to fulfill their lust or their desire to be known and to be seen and to be acknowledged. You know, I know everybody wants to be acknowledged and, you know, you want somebody to see what you're doing. But, you know, dealing with the word, that's not the case. All right, sir. He say, for even Mashiach pleased not himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproach thee fell on me. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. We got to remember come back to Deuteronomy 24. All this stuff was written for us that we might learn how to please Elohim, like we just read in Hebrews 13. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, is what's well-pleasing in his sight. So we have to remember that. 24 and 10. We ain't going to get Exodus 22. I'll say that for on tomorrow. Verse 10, though, says this. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out thy pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. And in any case thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun go down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee. And it shall be righteousness unto thee before Yahuwah thy Elohim. Now we're going to have to sit back and look at this and make it do what it do. Let's look at some of these words and let's just sit back and see what we see. He said when you do lend a pledge, so we need to look at pledge. Well, it says you shall lend anything to your brother. Let's look at lend first. When we look at lend, it is nashah, and it is to be a creditor, to lend a creditor. Proverbs 22 and 6. It might be verse 8 that I desire. So you're literally talking about being a creditor now, meaning you in debt. That means the person that borrowed is in debt. So we need to look at something in Proverbs 22. Oh, that's 25. And that's 21. There we go. 22 and 7 is what I desire. 22 and 7, that's all we want. Listen to what he say. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. Now hold on. Let's look at that one as well. Let's look at the words in that one there. Remember now, the borrower is a servant to the lender. You know, and I remember somebody asked, oh, it was a brother in Alabama. We look at borrower. Hold on. It is lavah. It is to join or to be joined, or to join oneself or to be joined. To borrow, to lend, to cause, to borrow or lend.
I see it. I'm saying that.
And we're going to look at lender. And it's ish, which is basically man or servant or champion or a great man. So when we look at the borrower as a servant to the lender, he that is joined or borrows is a servant to a great man. Because he's the lender. He lent you something. He lent you something. You gotta sit back, he lent you something. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 24, man. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 24 and let's look at it again. Oh my goodness. (24) and what, 10? He said, when thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. So we need to look at the word pledge. We're just going to take our time. We ain't in no rush. There's a lot of stuff in here, and we're just going to take our time and look at it. We look at pledge. It's a vote. It's a pledge, a thing given as a security. An article pledged as a security for debt. This is an article that is pledged for a security or a debt. He say, when you lend to your brother, knowing that he that lends is a great man, he said, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Well, let's look at house. Y'all know it's body, or dwelling or habitation or the human body, a place or receptacle. Now we sitting back looking at the borrower as a servant to the lender. The lender is a great man. Let's look at something in John chapter 5. This nigga popped up with a stocking cap on. Look at John chapter 5, I want to say. It's actually 14. This whole Deuteronomy 14. Y'all don't even sit back and realize that the Most High calls you to be a lender. I mean, a borrower of his ruach, to be a partaker of that. Because it said that the borrower is somebody who is joined. You're joined. You seeking to be joined to Mashiach. It means you borrowing from him. And he offers something which is an article for the pledge. We're going to look at his article for that pledge. John 14. 14 and 9. Yeah, you talking about that stocking cap? That nigga look like a nigga from White Man Can't Jump. Nigga, that's you? Well, you better put that pistol up, boy.
Nigga say, I come back, I'm shooting all y'all.
I'm trying to think, was that White Man Can't Jump? That nigga come in that store trying to rob.
That is what
And he said, is that you, Cleveland? When is that you?
I said, all right, man, you bought a gun from me.
I said, man, you don't get up out of here, nigga.
He said, I come back, I'm going to my car. I'm going to get my other gun. I come back.
I tripped, man. He said, when is that you?
I thought you was one of mine.
Yahushua said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet thou hast not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. How say then, show us the Father? Believe thou not that I am in the Father and the Father in me?
Yeah.
The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself. But the Father that dwelleth in me, he do the works. Believe that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that believe on me, the works that I shall do, shall he do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be esteemed in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, neither know him, but ye know him, for he dwell in you, and shall be in you. Now again, the borrower is a servant to the lender. The word for lender means a great man. You know what I'm saying? When we look at lender in the lexicon that we use, you thinking like a bank. I lent you something. But then when you look at most people who lenders, they're usually great people because they got a lot of cash. Well, we know Luke chapter 1 say the master will be called great. You're borrowing from him. See, let's turn around and let's look at that. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and about verse 19. See, say you sold yourselves for naught, but you shall be redeemed without money. When you redeem somebody, it's because you owe. This take us right back to Leviticus chapter 25. What you got, bug juice? You got slammers with protein, huh? Strong 7 grams there. Got a lot of sugar going on there.
Gotta keep her tight.
Keep her tight. She ain't trying to let me breathe, because if she let me, she'll sit right up here. I ain't letting you. Yeah, Leah and Lizzie know not to do it. So I like to say, I'm gonna buck the giant. See what's going on. Don't buck the giant. Some of these niggas shoot out here. Don't buck the giant. I ain't gonna lie to you. Shh, you catch me down bad, you won this one. But I'm gonna see you again. I'm gonna see you again. He said that nigga had me scared too. I held my own though.
You gonna get yours.
You gonna get all this. You got see if you do that one there, you gotta do it all the way out. Cause he gonna get yours, B. You gonna get yours, B. I said, boy, that nigga had me tripping. Go on, sit down, girl. What I just said we were gonna look at.
I'm in 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 6:19. So you gonna get yours, B. 6:19. 1 Corinthians. You gotta realize something. He said he's not gonna go abroad and fetch the pledge, right? He tell you, you lend to your butt, don't go abroad and fetch the pledge. Say, don't we're gonna sit back and look at it now. He say, what? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is in you, which you have of Elohim, and you are not your own? You are bought with the price. Therefore esteem Elohim in your body and your Ruach, which are Elohim. See, you are a servant to the lender. See, Paul told you he was a slave to Mashiach. See, Zechariah even prophesied to you. He said, oh, ye prisoners of hope. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
You a servant to the lender.
Okay, you win.
Look at John 15:19.
Ah.
You got something the master said. John 15:19. Let's just look what the master said. I might be a little too high. 15 and 14. Then we'll look at Leviticus 25 in the law. All you got to do is sit back and just look at the law. You get back and you look at the law, you get a better understanding. A lot of dudes don't understand the law. That's why they don't got no understanding. A lot of dudes say a lot of things, don't know what they talking about.
I ain't too sure, but I smell boo-boo.
Woo-woo.
I ain't too sure, though.
Because the master just told you greater works than these than you would do. The only way you'll be able to do that is because you're borrowing from him. You're being a partaker of the Ruach HaKodesh. You're being a partaker of the divine nature. Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. Remember we talked about a friend. That's faith. That's having the faith of Abraham. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant know not what his master do. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, that he may give it you. So you are a servant to the lender. You borrowing from him. You can't sit back. You can't do this on your own. He said, without me, you can do nothing. Where you get the ability to do anything without Mashiach? Let's come back to Deuteronomy 24. So when he say you does lend your brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. Mashiach's not coming into your body to come and get that ruach up out of you. Listen what he tell you. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man whom thou lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. If any case thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun go down, that he may sleep in his own raiment and bless thee. Now think about that. What did come to your mind when he says this right here in verse 13, y'all? When you deliver him the pledge again, when the sun go down, that he may sleep in his own clothing and bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee before Yahuwah thy Elohim. Oh, my scalp is itching. Anybody got any idea what that could be talking about?
Someone died, that's when he died in his own clothes.
Because we should already look at it. We already looked at the sun going down. When we look at raiment in this verse, it's salma. It literally means your outer garment, your wrapper, your mantle, your outer garment, your dress, or your clothes. Which is quite obvious. And again, we look at pledge, and it's the thing given as a security. Let's look at Leviticus 25 real fast, though, while we're looking at this Deuteronomy 24, because everybody good and quiet. Look at Leviticus 25. 25 and 39.
You called it.
She do. Stanky booty. By the time for you to go to bed after that bowel movement. See, that grown people bowel movements over there. 25 and 39. If thy brother that dwell by thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant. See, you got kind of low right there. The master say don't compel him to be no bondservant now, but as a hired servant. Listen what he said. And as a sojourner with thee, he shall serve thee until the year of Jubilee. Let's look at something again. Let's look at Leviticus 25 and let's look at the words in this verse. He said you should be a hired servant. And we're about to get the hired servant in Deuteronomy 24. That's why we're looking at it. And that right there is secure. It means you're a mercenary. A man at wages. You're hired. This is referring to one of the tribes of Yashar'al, if you know what tribe it is. Hey, y'all hush. When we look at a year Jubilee, right, listen to what it says, right? It's Yoval. It means ram horn or trumpet. Marked by the blowing of the trumpet. So keep that in mind. Because he said, you will serve this man until the year of Jubilee as a hired servant. We're going to look at bond servant too. I know it's a lot that I'm mentioning. Just bear with me. We look at dwell by waxing poor. It means to low, to be grow poor, to be depressed, or to be poor. It's muck. That's what that means in that instance when it says that he that dwell by thee be waxing poor. And you be sold. It is the makar. It is to sell or to be given over to death. Then he said, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant. Bondservant is ibed. It means a slave. Subject to. So now, you've been waxing poor and you're depressed. He sat back and said, if you've been waxing poor, he said, don't make you no slave. Because you know, he said, the borrower is a servant to this great man. You're joined to this great man. I and my Father are one, perfect in one. That they may be perfect in me, Father, as I am in you. This is what the Master said in Yashar'al 17. Sitting back showing you that he was the borrower. That he's the lender and you were the borrower because he was telling them something. That he was going to give them something. Make them a partaker of something that they had to get from him. Let's look again at what he's talking about if you be waxing poor or depressed. Matthew 11 and 27. He said, when you be waxing poor, calm down, side. He said, don't compel him to be no slave. After that, John chapter 8 and verse 30. I guess all the other ones bailed out on you. They bailed out on you. See, the other ones bailed out on you. Good. They bailed out. I'm in Luke. I guess it would help for us to get in the right book now, wouldn't it? (11 and 27), make it 28, get straight to the point. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. I mean, you're feeble, you're depressed. You know, a lot of people don't sit back and look at it, right? I'm trying to think. It'll come to me where that's at. This word just came to me. Let me finish this here. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Let's look at John chapter 8 and verse 30. And Romans 6 and 16. Because remember, all these things were written aforetime for your learning. You don't sit back and realize you could be a hired servant. Because he said you can't be no bond servant. When we look at hire, you should think about Issachar. Because Issachar name means Elohim is giving me my hire in Bereshit of Genesis chapter 30. We've already established, if you were paying attention in John 14, your hire is the Ruach. That's what he's paying you with. Isaiah 52 and 7 say, you sold yourselves for naught, you shall be redeemed without money. Peter told you, you were not bought back with corruptible things like silver and gold from the vain behavior of your father, but by the precious blood of Mashiach, as a lamb without blemish. You had to borrow this man's blood for the atonement for your sins. You got to borrow this man Ruach to get eternal life. He lending all this to you. This is a great man. He lending all this stuff to you. And this is going back to what I've been telling y'all since last week, right? This man didn't get no profit or gain from nothing that he went through. He went through all that to give it to you. He went through all that to give it to you. I'm going to establish that. I guess that's why he worked it into this realm, because we might not even get to the widow. Because it's certain things I want to sit back here. That stranger, that fatherless, and that widow. Because y'all don't even know Mashiach was a fatherless child. And they sinned against Yahuwah when they did that. Because when the father turned his back on him, that made him fatherless. Because Joseph wasn't dead. That's why Joseph wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? You want to know how he was a stranger? Because he said he came into his own and his own received him not. He was a stranger in his own land. How was he a stranger in his own land? Because we went over this a long time ago. Your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, walked in the promised land which was promised to them, but yet they were strangers in it. You know what I'm saying? And what did the Israelites turn around and do? What did Yashar'al turn around and do? Oppress the stranger. They oppressed Mashiach. You know what I'm talking about? See, all that's about him, what they did. They broke all these laws when they did that to him. When they did what they did. And he was the widow. He was all that. He was the fatherless, the stranger, and the widow. He's the hired servant and all that, but we're going to deal with all that. You see, it's a lot. You know what I'm talking about? God. Each one could be a separate thing all in itself. But I'm just going ahead and put that in your head. Y'all need to know that and understand that he's the fatherless child. He's the widow. He's the stranger. When you look at it and you know the law and you see how these people do that, then you can turn around and be like, I can't do that to nobody else. Then you know what else you'll do? Then you might reach out to the fathers. You might reach out to the widow. You might reach out to those that's destitute and remember them like James tell you to. And we'll look at that in a minute. John 8:30. John 8:30. And as he spake these words, many believed on him. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, we were never in bondage to any man. How say thou, ye shall be made free? Yahushua answered them, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abide not in the house forever. If the Son, therefore, shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. Now remember, he said, man, if I give you a pledge, he said, don't come, he say, stand abroad. And he'll bring it to you. See, this is also why the master told you in Luke chapter 6, when you lend, I'll deal with it. Romans 6:16. This is where this stuff comes from. Just got to know where it comes from. You know where it comes from, and make a lot more sense. Romans 6:14. Make it 6:12. Romans 6:12. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto Elohim as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto Elohim. So you have to sit back and realize something. When you commit sin, you are slave to it. Which means you're indebted to it. That's why we read that other night in Romans 8. You're not debtors to the flesh to live in the flesh. You've been purchased from that. You're a debtor to Mashiach. He's your creditor. You owe him. You don't owe your flesh. You don't owe sinners. You don't owe the world. You don't owe these people anything. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the Torah, but under favor. See, you're not under death. So we need to go ahead and look at it for dummies. And when I say dummies, I ain't talking about nobody on this phone. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about somebody who'll come back and look at this later and try to squirm their way up out of something. You know what I'm talking about? Genesis 3:19. 3 and 17. You tell Shayla got turned. She got the grandma night clothes. You see her walking to the door, cussing everybody out of the neighborhood.
What you say?
Grandma night clothes right there.
Smiling.
It's like they said, open up the door. Who them bad children? Come around here no more.
Get off my porch.
You done stepped on my bazillions one time too many. Chasing all the children off. And I'm telling them, they be like, don't go to that house like that. That lady don't get no candy. She mean. And it's always one. We told you they don't celebrate that. That lady gonna cuss you out when you come to that door. Hello?
I want to call the cops.
Hello? Hello? We're at 3 and 17 Genesis, right? It say, unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and thou hast eaten of the tree which I command thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. You know what something that just hit my head? He told them not to eat from these trees, right? I'm gonna sit back and see. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, right? Adam ate from the tree, right? What happened to him? He died though, didn't he? He got cursed because he ate from the tree. Now, huh? What you say now? Now I want y'all to think about something. What's the significance of Adam eating from the tree and him being cursed? Because this is the curse of the law right here, is death. It's amazing to me how so many Hebrews do not realize that the curse of the law is death. The curse of the law is not Deuteronomy 28, man. You know what I'm saying? That's not the curse of the law. That's curses in the law. That's not the curse of the law. We're supposed to be wise enough in the law to know that. Now, what's the significance of this man being cursed from eating from this tree? Why is it significant considering what we've read so far this evening? That's why I'm focusing on it. What's the significance of that? Anybody got any idea what's the significance of that? Don't nobody got no idea what's the significance of that? Adam ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and he was cursed. Why is the significance of that pertaining to Mashiach? Galatians 3 and 13. Yes. Twin. Stinks. Zion. I got a whole bunch of children over here. I can't put your socks on. That's your sock. Si, you're not getting up here.
Come on, son.
Get your sock and go to your pappy. Oh, you snatching. Galatians 3 and 13. Go on, sit down, twin. Come on. Come on, twin. Mwah. Galatians 3 and 13. Mashiach have redeemed us from the curse of the Torah, being made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone that hang on a tree. Why is the significance of that tree? Why Adam was cursed? That's why the master had to be put on the tree. See, that's your second witness. See, Deuteronomy 21 told you if you hang a man from a tree, he's a curse to Elohim. You turn around and see Adam ate from a tree and he ended up being cursed. So it's only right Mashiach get hanged from a tree, right? If he the second Adam, that means he got to be cursed by a tree just like Adam was. So this again is showing you that the curse of the law is death, not Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 is not the curse of the law. It's amazing to me that they think this verse is talking about this man was hung from a tree to redeem us from the curse of the law. That they thought it was talking about you going into slavery by ships. And just totally negate the curse of death that's on man's head. Romans chapter 5 though, before we come back to Romans 6. You can't be that simple. Like it's two curses in the law, just like it's two righteousnesses in the law, right? You supposed to know the difference. Romans 5, what it is? About 5. That's why we had to sit back and look at that. He said Adam was cursed because he ate from this tree. So the master had to be cursed when he got hung from the tree. He's got to go through the same thing Adam went through. How else is he going to take that off of you? So therefore you are no longer a servant to sin. You're no longer indebted to that. Now you're indebted to Mashiach. He done made that pledge.
Hey.
5 and 6, Romans. We slide right back to 6th chapter. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. Excuse. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim commended his love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach died for us. So while you were yet in bondage and in debt to death, this man freed you from that. That's why you are now a servant to the lender. And that you will be freed in the year Jubilee, or in the sounding of the trumpet. And we will look at that. For much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to Elohim by the death of his son, much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life. Yeah, that's what he do, man. That nigga walk around the house like that. Chapter 6 again. Hello?
Hey, go listen to your mom.
Hello? Hello? 6 and 13. All right, what's going on, Tony? How you been, man?
Tony from Australia.
That was good to hear from you. It's been a little minute. 6 and 13. Romans. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto Elohim as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto Elohim. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under Torah but under favor. What then shall we say, because we are not under Torah but under favor? Elohim forbid. I mean, just because you're not under death don't mean you got a license to sin. That's what you have to sit back and look at. Because this man has shed his blood, you got a free gift, a pledge for a debt. You think you can do what you want to? Know ye not, to whom you yield your servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. But Elohim be thanked that you were servants of sin, but you have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you. Being then made free from sin, you became the servants of righteousness. Let's come back to Leviticus 25 then. And that's going to make Deuteronomy 24 make even more sense. What you peeking your head around that corner for like that? Yeah, young Slim over there. Tell me what he got going on.
Slide around the kitchen.
Around here with his drunk man pajamas on. Coming to the front door with a can of malt liquor. That's what them pants is.
Hey.
Early in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, they got a Schlitz malt liquor bull in his hand. 25 and 41. Leviticus. Then he shall depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his father shall he return. For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Mizraim. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over them with rigor, but thou shalt fear thy Elohim. Again, this is why, look at what the master said right here, so you can get some understanding of what he's talking about. Matthew chapter 20. And 25. Say you won't rule over, and then after that, 1 Peter chapter 5. So you won't rule over them with rigor. They my servants. Matthew 20 and 25. But Yahushua said unto him, but Yahushua called them unto him and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. To pay the debt. That's why he tell you, if you know the law, you know why the master told his disciple, you can't do that. You're not going to rule over each other with rigor. You my servants. Y'all not servants to each other. You my servants. You belong to me. A lot of men tend to forget that when they go to picking their book up. 1 Peter chapter 5. I think he tell you that again in Matthew 23 if I'm not mistaken. First Peter chapter 5. When you look at somebody who preaching the word, they ain't nothing but a hired servant. That's all it is. And he said, you can't rule over them with rigor. He said, you my servants. This is what this man told you now. They are my servants. I brought them forth out of the land of Mizraim that they should not be sold as bondmen. So we look at it as, we Yahushua's servants. He brought you back from sin and death. You know what I'm saying? The preacher didn't bring you back from sin and death. Yahushua did that. You're not a borrower to the preacher. You're a borrower to Mashiach. First Peter 5:1. The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of Mashiach, and also a partaker of the esteem that should be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind, neither as being masters over Elohim's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock. See, that go back to what we were looking at. You can come back to Leviticus 25. We're talking about it. In the 34th chapter of Ezekiel, he talked about how the shepherds ruled over the flock. They didn't visit them. They didn't feed them. They didn't clothe them. They fed themselves. They ruled over them roughly. And the scribes and Pharisees did the same thing to the people. You know what I'm talking about? They ruled over them with rigor. Violating the law in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? This is why Peter's telling you this. Because if a man preaching the word, he ruled over the people with rigor like that, then he violating the law. Because he say, they my servants. You will not rule over them with rigor. That's what it say clear day, right? Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but thou shalt fear thy Elohim. You do that, that means you don't respect Yahuwah. Come on back to Leviticus 25, because you got to sit back and realize something. The borrower is the servant to the lender. You know what I'm saying? So you servants to Mashiach. He told you to serve each other. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all my servants. Y'all serve each other. You supposed to sit back and follow the example he said. I served y'all. Y'all come back. Y'all serve each other. That's why we sat back and read that those that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please themselves. That everybody should please his neighbor under edification, to instruction. You ought to please each other and not to please yourself. This is the mistake of Miriam and Aaron. And see, we didn't read the part why he said remember Miriam and Aaron before that, because he was talking about the plague of leprosy before he said remember what happened to Miriam. We just started it right there to set that simple point that Miriam and Aaron forgot that they were servants. You know what I'm talking about? They wanted men in person and admiration because of advantage. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times some people, oh, you puffed up with knowledge. Necessarily don't even be knowledge would have people get puffed up. What have people get puffed up is they get a little bit of authority. See, when you ain't never really had nothing, a lot of people want to be somebody. You know, a lot of brothers ain't been nothing their entire life. You know what I'm talking about? That word came around, niggas say come down and get with this camp and this congregation, and they finally felt like they could be somebody. You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of that authority went to their head. The same way it happened when niggas become police officers. Or when niggas become managers on certain jobs. When I say niggas, I ain't talking about no black people. A whole bunch of them. Because boy, you see some of the white boys got picked on in school, now they become a police officer, they got a little bit of authority, go to their head. Don't let somebody be manager at Taco Bell. McDonald's, they don't know how to act. Like, bruh, you're a mid-level service manager at a fast food restaurant. Just be easy, man. Just be easy, man. It's not that serious. You ain't got to go crazy. You know you can't give some people no authority. They don't know how to act. Come on back to Leviticus 25. We still hold to Deuteronomy 24. He dropped down about verse 47. He said, if a sojourner or stranger wax which by thee, and thy brother that dwell by him wax poor, and sell himself unto that stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. one of his brethren may redeem him. That's why we started looking at that Matthew 15. He said, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Yashar'al. Who else going to redeem an Israelite but another one? You know what I'm saying? You got to buy him back. Let's look at what else he say now. Either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh kin unto him of his family may redeem him, or if he be able, he may redeem himself. He said if he's able, he might be able to buy himself back. Look at John chapter 10, about verse 16. Hold in Leviticus 24. He said if he's able, he'd be able to redeem himself. Also, get this 2 Corinthians 8 and 9. If he be able, he can buy himself back. If he be able.
What do you think about it, Mike?
10 and 16, 10 and 17 actually. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No man take it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down. I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. See, the master sit back telling you he's got power to redeem his own life. I can buy myself back from sin because I have no sin upon me. Therefore, I can buy that back. I can redeem myself. Therefore, through that, he can redeem you. Because you sold yourselves under sin. Matter of fact, look at Romans 7 and 14. There we go. Romans 7 and 14. You know, I done told y'all this plenty of time before, but you got to remember, the curse of the law is death. Death, death, death. You had to be brought back. He that the soul that sin, it shall die. The wages of sin is death. The gift of Elohim is eternal life through Yahushua HaMashiach. So that is the lender. That's the great man. How else you going to get life? You got to borrow from him. You got to borrow the word from him. You got to borrow the blood from him. You got to borrow the Ruach from him. You got to do all of that. For we know that the Torah is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold unto sin. You know what I'm saying? You seen that when Adam did that in the beginning when he got cursed by the tree. He done sold himself unto sin. You sold yourselves for nothing. He sold himself for nothing. For nothing. For nothing. For absolutely nothing. We're selling ourselves for nothing. Because we're getting nothing in return. You think that temporary pleasure you're receiving is any good? You're going to die after that. You're going to die after that. I said it from the beginning. I'll say it again. Anything you do, if you got to get outside the way of Yahuwah to get something or to keep it, it was never of you. We can't be that dumb not to see the adversary coming. We can't be that dumb. You can't be that dumb. Why would Yahuwah bless you with something that would cause you to sin against him where he would have to kill you? Don't you realize that's a deluded mind right there? You lying to yourself.
That's not yours, boo.
Say it is today, buddy. It is today. It is today. Leviticus 25 again. Verse 50. We're going to get to this year of Jubilee in a minute to sit back and see when you're completely free. And when you see what it means to be completely free, you'll look at it a little different. He's saying, he that reckoned with him that bought him from the year that he was sold to him until the year of Jubilee. And the price of his sale shall be according to the number of years, according to the time of a hired servant, shall it be with him. If there be yet many years behind, according to them, he shall give again the price of his redemption out of the money that he was bought for. And if there remain but few years until the year of Jubilee, then he shall count with him according unto his years, shall he give him again the price of his redemption. And as a yearly hired servant shall be with him, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in thy sight. Even when you sit back and you look at this here, right, you say rule with rigor, right? Let me look at the word rigor right here. look right over it. Verse 53. We'll just look right over it. We look at the Hebrew word for rigor in this instance. It's correct. It means harshness, severity, or cruelty. When we turn around and we look at 1 John 5 and 3, say, for this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments. His commandments are not grievous. When we sit back and we look at Yahuwah, did he rule over us with cruelty? Mashiach definitely don't rule over us with cruelty. He say, with love and kindness shall I draw thee. You know what I'm talking about? He say, this is the new commandment that I give thee, that you love one another, that the world might know that ye are my disciples. He does not rule over us with cruelty or rigor. He doesn't do that. He don't do that. So you know what, we turn around when you look at Yashar'al, how we sit back and say, oh, he ruling over me with cruelty, because he ain't telling you what you want to hear, or he don't make excuses for your sin, or he challenges you to be better, or they push you to be greater. You feel like that's cruelty. You know what I'm saying? Being cruel is really for the total annihilation and destruction of you, that you don't seek salvation. See, we done got a misguided sin because of how this society done crafted your brain, and you have a, y'all sit down. Twin. Don't even get started. Don't even get started, twin. You can't have a seat, twin. Let me tell y'all something, right? Because of how this society is crafted, everybody is so soft. And when I say soft, meaning people's feelings are easily hurt because people bend over backwards for you. I had picked a dude up the other day. He said, man, I work with these young guys. They're so sensitive. He was like, man, why do you talk to me like that? He said, screw how I talk to you. Just get the order out.
Sit down.
You know what I'm saying? It seems like people's feelings get hurt very, very easily. Because we live in a society where kids get trophies just for participating. You know what I'm saying? Everybody bends over backwards to appease people. And very rarely do people get told the things that they need to hear versus what they want to hear. So when somebody tells you what you need to hear versus what you want to hear, your feelings get hurt. In the midst of your feelings getting hurt, you know what ends up happening? You thinking somebody's being mean to you or being cruel to you because they're not bending over backwards to appease you and to stroke your ego. You know what I'm saying? The master didn't walk around stroking people's ego. I guarantee you if the master was in the flesh right now, people would say he was cruel based on how society is right now. You know what I'm saying? Because people are mentally weak. You know what I'm saying? And when I say mentally weak, because you want people to capitulate for you. Tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I want to hear. Don't talk to me like that. That's too mean. You can say it like this. But when you tell the truth, there is no way to tell it. You know what I'm saying? You know what they always call the truth? It's a hard pill to swallow, ain't it? That means 9 times out of 10, the truth is harsh. And no matter if you say it soft, or you say it loud, or however you say it, it's still going to go down the same way. You know what I'm saying? Hard. That's what people don't want to hear. That man don't rule over his... He said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. I mean, I'm not ruling over... Because yoke means dominion or rulership. He said, I'm not ruling over you with rigor. So when you sit back and you see the chief shepherd is not ruling with rigor, then those up under him should not do the same. And then that means also that those that the brethren should not rule each other with rigor. That you should literally be servants one to another, and that you should love one another, showing forth that you are his disciples and that he bought you. Because he said you are his servants. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all ain't my servants. You know what I'm talking about? And you ain't nobody else servant. Ain't nobody's servants. But we can sit back and say, you can tell a lot of Hebrews, screw Christians, carry themselves like that, don't they? As if the people are their servants. No, nigga. You serve them. You know what I'm talking about? They're not your servants. All us are Yahuwah's servants. That's what the law says. So it makes sense when the master tell you to serve each other then, don't it? Just telling you what the law says. Just telling you what the law says. Come on back to Leviticus 25, finish it out. He said, if he be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children, with him. For unto me the children of Yashar'al are servants. They are my servants whom I brought forth out of the land of Mishraim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Now listen to what he said right here. He said in verse 54, if they don't be redeemed in these years, they'll go out in the year of Jubilee. How do we get back and see that they weren't redeemed in those years? And who is these people who were not redeemed in those years? And what year was it that they were not redeemed? Obviously the year that they were not redeemed is they were not bought back by their next of kin. So what is this talking about, gentlemen? What goes through your mind when you hear that? And y'all can swing back to hold. Keep your hold on Deuteronomy 24. Anybody got any idea what this could mean? Hebrews 11. We just read it the other day. We'll look at it again. Hebrews 11 and 35. Hebrews 11 and 35. When we look at this law right here, this law is pointing us to those who didn't hear of Mashiach before he came. So therefore they weren't redeemed in those years. So they got to be able to go forth in the year of Jubilee. So then we're going to have to sit back and look at how forth, because year of Jubilee is just your vow, and that means the year of the trumpet. And you hear year of the trumpet, it should tell you something. We'll end with that though. We ain't going to start going here. We're going to end with that though. 11:34, 11:32 though. What shall I more say, for the time should fail me to tell of Gideon and of Barak and of Samson and of Jephthah and of David also and Samuel and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, and stopped the mouth of lions, quenched the violence of fire, and escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in flight, and turned to flight the armies of the aliens, who received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they may obtain a better resurrection. Others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover, bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the Arats, and all these, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. Elohim provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. You see how he said that those who aren't redeemed in them years will come out in the year of Jubilee and the year of the trumpet? Because those that came before Mashiach were not redeemed in those years when he was on earth. He said he came to offer himself for a ransom for many. He came to redeem you from death. That wasn't in their years. That next of kin didn't come and redeem them. So you see how Elohim, even in the Torah, made a provision to get those who came before Mashiach. The provision was still there. How do you niggas know the law so much don't catch that though? You know what I'm talking about? How is that possible? So now let's sit back and let's look at something. 1 Peter chapter 4, about verse 7. Make it 5. Locking.
Body, I'm talking about.
Pop, lock, and dropping.
From the neck down to my toes.
Yeah, my hamstrings feel a little better because I did squat a little bit. Can't squat no heavyweight. Can't even leg press no heavyweight. I was ashamed to be in there squatting 155 pounds. It's 155 pounds. So did though. We gonna get back right. Both High willing. We gonna get back right. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they may be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to Elohim in the Ruach. But in the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. So you see this right here. They better be able to be partakers, to be a part of that year of Jubilee. We're going to end with the year of Jubilee. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 24 though and finish that out. We're just going to deal with the high servant. I ain't going past that though. We're going to end with the year of Jubilee though. Show you how you freed from the debt. Saya has escaped. She got her Lizzie Fro going.
This looks like she could be one of mine.
She got the Lizzie Fro going.
Ain't not sleep.
See, I'm bucking. 24 and 11, right? Deuteronomy. We finna get ready to wrap it up, though. Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. If the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. If in any case thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun go down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee, it shall be righteousness unto thee. before Yahuwah Elohim. Let me read verses 14 and 15, then we break everything down. Thou shalt not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in the land, or in thy land within thy gates. At his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it. For he is poor, and he set his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto Yahuwah, and it be sin unto thee. Let's sit back and look at it, right? Now, just for time's sake, right? When he say if you deliver a man to his pledge, that you'll stand abroad, to whom thou lend the pledge abroad unto thee. This is when the master say, if you lend to somebody, don't look for nothing back in return. You know what I'm talking about? You know what this is also telling us about? If you lend something to somebody, as an Abrim, our law tells us, you don't run a nigga down about that. You know what I'm talking about? You know what you lent him. Sit back and look at it. Let's go ahead and get to Matthew, man. Matter of fact, it's Luke 6. I'd rather read Luke 6. Luke 6 and 30. Luke 6 and 30. Give to every man that asketh thee, and of him that take away thy goods, ask them not again. And as you would that men should do to you, do you also to them likewise. For if you love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if you do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners do even the same, also do even the same. And if you lend to them whom you hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. When you sit back and look at it, right, Yahushua lent to you. He didn't seek to get anything from you for what he lent to you. Sit back and look at that now. This man say, what thank have ye? He say, if you lend to them whom you hope to receive, what is Yahushua going to receive from you from what he lent to you? Because you already supposed to be serving him, so he ain't getting nothing in return. This man sit back and say, I ain't asked you for no bulls and no goats. You know what I'm talking about? He said, if I was hungry, you wouldn't know it. And if I was thirsty, I wouldn't tell you. Because he lent to you. He ain't looking to get nothing back from return from what he lent you. Because you was already supposed to be keeping his commandments. So you not giving him. That's why I say offer yourself as a living sacrifice. That is your reasonable service. Hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments. So you not giving him nothing back. He lent you his ruach to give you eternal life. He ain't getting nothing back in return from that. What is he getting back in return? But love your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and you shall be called the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. So that's when you sit back and realize something, right? If you lend a nigga something, you ain't supposed to be running a nigga down. You know what I'm talking about? Where my money at? All that type of stuff. Man, look here. You know I lent it to you. So if you don't pay it back, guess who's going to pay me back? But you know, that's your natural inclination to run a nigga down about your money, though. Don't you? It's another precept in the law, right? You sit back and look at it, right? I remember telling the lady this here, right? You know, if you go work for some money, right? And a nigga don't pay you, and you set your heart on that money, and you cry out to Yahuwah about it, boy, that man gonna come see them people about that. You can bet that. That man say, boy, if you take somebody, do not oppress the hireling in his wages. He said, you better not go to, he said, you better not let the sun go down with that man money. That's what I see in Hebrew talking about, seeing them people make you wait 2 weeks for their paycheck. Man, come on with all that stupid stuff, man. You know, it was certain stuff back in them times, you got paid daily. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't have that system how it's set up now. I remember I was working for these people, man, and they bought the jack on me and Jason. They pay us our cash. We don't owe you nothing. And we running this stuff down. I know you owe me. They were doing all this here. I said, you know what? I ain't even worried about it. I said, I'm going to holler at y'all about that. You can keep it. You know what I'm talking about? And them niggas lost that contract about less than 2 weeks later. Nigga, they were getting about $2,000, $3,000, maybe even $4,000 a week cleaning the L house. And you lost that because you ain't want to pay $350. Niggas got fired for stealing quarters and costume jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Like these people arguing us down, they ain't owe us no money. Like, boy, I know you owe me, nigga. I needed them 200 cash. 200 cash. Boy, you lost you about $1,600 a month. For 200 cash. You broke bastard. That is a 16, my bad. I'm talking about almost $10,000 a month, really. Because they were getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Because the nigga I knew who had it for them, he would make it a decent living. You know, people pay you to clean in restaurants. You know what I'm talking about? I can't do it though. Because I ain't coming another night. I ain't sending nobody in there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I ain't never went after that. Well, they'll pay you now. And them restaurants, that easy money too, bro. Be dead honest with you. Because all of them don't lock you in now. You know what I'm saying? That ale house, they lock you in now. And you got to stay in there all night. You know what I'm talking about? See, I can't do that. See, that hold up my cash. I can't be in here all night. You imagine you sit back, the people paying you about $3,000, $4,000, you know what I'm saying, to clean a restaurant, bro? All you got to do is clean the back and the front. That's nothing.
You got all that grease on the floor and all that.
Man, that stuff ain't gonna be nothing.
Yeah. I was saying when I worked at Outback, they came and I'm more pressure washed ink.
Yeah, it's nothing, bro.
You know what it's about.
Yeah, it's nothing, bro. It's absolutely nothing. That's just Kira telling us her phone died. I mean, it's absolutely nothing, bro. It's nothing. But at the same token, how could you send somebody to go do something that you wouldn't go do yourself? See, the master ain't sending us to go do nothing that he didn't go do himself. That's the same way, like, you can't send nobody to go do something that you're not going to do yourself. That's the definition of a coward right now. Finish the Deuteronomy 24. How do you think they oppressed this hired servant that was poor and needy? How you think they did that? Remember, say Elohim is giving me my hire. This is right here, right now. We're looking at Mashiach being Issachar. How did they do it? They say, at the day thou shalt give him his hire, don't let the sun go down upon it because he's poor. He set his heart on it. He said, if he cry out against unto Yahuwah, it will be sin. It will be sin. Well, let's see how they sat back when the sun went on, did it. They oppressed this man and his wages. How do you think they oppressed this man and his wages? And he set his heart upon it, and he cried out to Yahuwah about it. And it ended up becoming sin. How did this happen? Before we end it with the trumpet. Anybody got any idea how this happened? Anybody got any idea how this happened? How did this happen to Mashiach? How did they oppress the hired servant? How did they oppress the hired servant? And they say, at his day, thou shalt give him his hire. You won't let that sun go down on it because he's poor. And remember, he said you got to make sure you deliver him his pledge so when the sun go down, he can sleep in his own clothes. He said he set his heart on it. He's poor now. He set his heart on this. That must be sign. What y'all think this could be talking about? Hey, all y'all sit down. Because she shouldn't have had to tell you but one time.
Whoop on.
What y'all think this could mean? What y'all think that could mean now? Think about it now. Somebody say something. Don't nobody got an idea what it could mean?
So how Mashiach was oppressed as a hired servant?
He was a hired servant.
Yeah, he was oppressed by the Pharisees. By the people. He was oppressed by his own people.
Let's look at Acts chapter 10 and about what that is. About 35.
That's a good fight, if you ask me.
Let's see if Acts 10 and 35 got what I'm thinking about. About 38.
Come on, Lee. Come on, Lee.
Say how Elohim anointed Yashar'al Nazareth with the Ruach HaKodesh and with power, and he went about doing good, healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Elohim was with him. And we are witnesses of all these things which he did, both in the land of the Yahudim and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. Him Elohim raised up the third day and showed him openly. Now you know Paul told you about 1 Thessalonians 2 and 14, right? Let me look at this higher, right? His reward or pay his wages. You know, he told you how they killed the master and their prophets. You know what I'm saying? The master told you in Matthew 16 and about 20 how he would suffer many things of the chief priests and scribes and be killed. Because they had to impress the servant in his wages. When we look at the word poor, that's what I was coming for, right? It's a name. It means to be afflicted or humbled. Say he's poor, he's afflicted. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah 53 tell you how this man was afflicted. You know what I'm talking about? How do people sit back and say this Yashar'al? That be the dumbest stuff I be seeing niggas say to it. Niggas just be feeding into it. I wouldn't even pay attention to a nigga that say Isaiah 53 talking about Yashar'al. I wouldn't even have that conversation. I wouldn't even persuade a nigga to even think differently from that because I know that you're dumb. No, the book tell you not to answer a fool according to his folly. Sometimes you just gotta let some stuff and just let that stuff live, man. Just let a nigga have that. You got that, bro. I ain't even finna go back and forth with you about that one. So when we look at this Deuteronomy 24, right? You come back to this Deuteronomy 24. I gotta wrap it up. When we look at the Deuteronomy 24, right? This man say, do not oppress the hired servant that is poor and needy or afflicted. Do not oppress the hired servant that is afflicted. Let's go ahead and just look at Isaiah 53 just on general principle. Isaiah 53, where we want, man? Verse 3, I suppose. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And as we hid as it were our faces from him, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. You know, the afflictions of Elohim will get you right. You know, we dropped that in the chat the other day, right? See, them afflictions really mean something. It can equate to something that can get you to where you want to be at. But a lot of people do not want to be afflicted of Elohim. They don't want to suffer them afflictions. They don't want to taste them afflictions. They try to flee from them afflictions. They don't really want nothing to do with them. Go to Psalms 34. Let's get you Psalms 34 and we'll see where we go from there. Sit down. So be quiet, twin. You finna get ready to be crunked up. Look at Psalm 34. Just chill out, twin. Psalms 34 and about verse 14. Depart from evil and do good, seek shalom and pursue it. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. The face of Yahuwah is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. The righteous cry, and Yahuwah hear, and deliver them out of all their troubles. Yahuwah is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saves such as are be of a contrite ruach. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahuwah deliver them out of them all. Let's look at something. He say, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Get Hebrews 10 and 32. There were many afflictions on Mashiach. That man say, he sit back and told you, he say, I had nowhere to lay my head at. He was hated by all men. This is what happened to a high servant. Chill out, little muffin and twin. Y'all sit down somewhere. Hebrews 10 and 32. He said, but call to remembrance the former days, in which after you were illuminated, you endured a great fight of afflictions. Partially which you were made a gazing stock, both by reproaches and afflictions, and partly which you became companions of them that were so used. When you sit back and you look at it, he said you became a partaker of companions of them who were so used, and you were a gazing stock. You became like Jeremiah. You became like Samson. You became like Ezekiel. You became like Mordecai. You came like all the righteous that were before you, that suffered all these afflictions, where you were dishonored and people looked at you and they mocked you, and you had this great fight of all these afflictions. That's why he say, do not oppress the hired servant. He's poor and needy, he is afflicted. When you see a man suffering for the word's sake, you are not to oppress them. This man sat back and told you that you ought to suffer in the flesh like Mashiach suffered in the flesh, that you might reject sin. Twin and little Mike, hush the noise. Sit there and be quiet. Twin, Lizzie, Elizabeth, come here. Oh, your mama got you now. Tried to get you before your mama got you. Y'all got to sit there and think about that, man. Don't you realize when these people come through and oppress the righteous, when we sit back talking about like the New World Order stuff and all these stuff, people coming at you and the wicked, that when they do this here, look at John 16:1. This the people, this right here, the master telling you they're going to oppress the hired servant now. John 16:1. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. That they shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time come that whosoever kill you will think that he do Elohim's service. These things they will do unto you, because they have not known the Father nor me. He's talking to his apostles now. And also it's another thing too to go along with this here that hit my mind, right? He say those that were not redeemed during those times. So y'all have to sit back and remember something. In John 17, the master sat back and said that those that should be saved who believed on him through the apostles' word. Because you weren't redeemed at that time either, because you weren't there to hear that word that they heard. That's why I say the prophet sought diligently to those sufferings of Mashiach that was in them to try to understand what it was about. He said, oh, bless you there, little Mike. Just wipe it on off on your shirt there. Huh? Right there. Very well then. Very well. So, a lot of people don't want to take on these afflictions and be partakers of them. That's why Paul say, despise not me, the prisoner of the Lord, the prisoner of Yahuwah, the prisoner of the master. He say, but be partakers of the sufferings of the gospel. People don't want to be partakers of that affliction. Therefore, you don't want to be partaker of that right, which means you're not that borrower or he that is joined. You're not Levi. You're not joined to the lender. So when he sit back and he say, don't oppress this man when the sun go down. Let's hit this Deuteronomy 24. We got to stop. It's about 11:20. I know I ain't started about 9 o'clock anyway. So when we look at it, he say, you'll deliver him his pledge when the sun go down, that he may sleep in his own clothes. And bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee. He say, but if you oppress him in the day of his hire, when that sun go down, and he's poor, and he set his heart on, and he cry, it's going to be sin. Hold on. Look at this verse 16 though. And the father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. See, that's why they say, can't no man die for your sin. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what that really talking about. And sit back and look at it, right? When the master said, you bear witness that you the children of those who killed the prophet. See, you sit back and look at it. You ain't going to die for what your dad's did, but you they see, so you wicked just like them, so you going to do what they did. Some of these niggas out here who be talking trash, oh, Mashiach ain't real, he an idol. It was the same niggas who oppressed him in the day of his hire and didn't pay him. And when the man cried out to him, it became sin. Let's look at Matthew 27. Let's see how they did it. Because you know how they oppressed him in his hire. He said that when we read that Matthew 26, and he said, you'll see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand, coming in Shamahim. They ain't want to give him his payment. They ain't want to give him his kingdom or his rule or his rulership. John 11:45 tell you that. They said, if we kept this man going, we're going to lose our place in the nation. That's why Catholics say, you don't know nothing at all. It's expedient one man die for the people. They didn't want to give a man what was his. His payment was a kingdom and a dominion, was to be king of Yashar'al. That's what the father paid him. Elohim gave him my high. Say, Issachar's a strong ass, count you down between two burdens. He saw rest was good, and he became a servant under tribute. And he saw that the land was good. They didn't want to give him none of his payment. The scribes and Pharisees, they didn't want to give a man nothing that was his. So when the sun was getting ready to go down, he cried out against him because they didn't want to give it to him. He set his heart on it. He set his heart on it. Peter told you that in Acts chapter 2 when he was quoting, he say, I know that Yahuwah will not suffer his Kadash one to rest in hell. See, when he said, send me, the Father already know him sending my son, and I'm going to give him this, I'm going to give him a kingdom. See, Yahushua already knew this here. I got dominion over all things. Psalm 73 tell you about it. Genesis chapter 2 tell you about it. This man know I got dominion over all things. Numbers 24 tell you about it. I got dominion over all things. I done set my heart on this. Yashar'al 9 and 6 tell you this here. The kingdom shall be on his shoulder. The government going to be on his shoulder. He'll be called the mighty Elohim, the everlasting Father. I done set my heart on this. My mind is set that I obtain a kingdom. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it was, my servants would fight. I done set my heart on this. He said, in my Father's house there's many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. I done set my heart on this. And you don't want to give me what's mine. So when I cry out against you, it's going to be sin. Matthew 27. When the sun going down. Y'all know John 19 and 30 say we got to get him off the stake. The sun was going down. They ain't want to pay the man his money. They ain't want to pay the man his money. That's ugly right there, boy. And guess what that means, right? Every nigga that reject Mashiach and go against him don't want to pay him his money. So they oppress the hired servant, knowing he's afflicted, and the day of his hire, because the day of his hire was the day of his death. He sat back and told his apostles, it's not yet my time. It's not yet my time. He set his heart on it. He cried against him under Yahuwah. He was sending them people. He sat back and delivered his pledge. When the sun go down, he might sleep in his own raiment. All that is when that sun was going down, Joseph of Arimathea came and brought that man that fine linen wrap and wrapped it on around him. It ended up being righteousness for him. See, he came and brought that man the pledge so that man could sleep in his own clothing. He ain't let that man sit back in no bloody clothes. Matthew 27, though. Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Where we at? 27 and 45. Because you know he had already cried out in Luke 23 when he said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Because he said, they're telling the Father they're oppressing me in my rages in the day of my hire. They don't want to give my payment. They see I'm afflicted, they don't even want payment. He cried out against him to Yahuwah. Let's see if he cried out against him to Yahuwah again. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Now that is to say, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? You understand what that sounds like? This sounds like he cried out at this man in the day of his hire. Sound like he had set his heart on what he was supposed to get done. Yep. Sound like they ain't want to pay him, didn't they? Yep. And what them people say, let his sin be on our what? Blood, children. That's sin against them people. That's why in Acts chapter 5, they sat back and say, man, we told you not to preach in this man's name. You tend to bring his blood on us. That's sin on us. We didn't pay him. First Thessalonians 4 and 13. Revelation chapter 11, verse 17. Before we do that, Isaiah 26. So 26 is 27 and 9, I want to say, or 27 and 13. Because the year of Jubilee, we got to finish that there. The year of Jubilee is to free you from the debt. So we got to look at what that means. I can't leave that there. I mentioned I can't leave that unleft. He said, you'll depart from thee and you'll go to your return unto his own family, unto his possessions. Then he said, and you'll come in your land, you'll inherit for a possession. Where's that what we were looking at? He said, the price of the sale, and there'll be many years and there remaining years. It was something else we looked at. It was something else I'm trying to recall. Basically, when he said it'd be a few years, when you look at it in the year of Jubilee, everything gets set free. So let's sit back and we see Jubilee is Yoval, which is basically trumpet. So we can sit back and think about memorial blowing a trumpet. What did I say? Isaiah 27 and 13. Make it 11. Make it 12. And it shall come to pass in that day, Yahuwah shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Mishraim, and you shall be gathered one by one, O children of Yashar'al. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown. And they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Mishraim, and shall worship Yahuwah in the Kadesh Mount at Jerusalem. So in the year of Jubilee is when you set free. Swing to the 25th chapter of the same book, about verse 9. Make it about verse 7. was looking at 26, and we needed 25. Well, yep, 25 and 6. And in this mountain shall the Yahuwah of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lees, and fat things full of marrow, and of wines on the lees well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He shall swallow up death in victory, and Yahuwah Elohim will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away off all their wraths, for Yahuwah hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our Elohim, we have waited for him, and he will save us. This is Yahuwah, we have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. You know, that's a lot of things that people don't want to do. They don't want to wait on Yahuwah. But then he say death will be swallowed up in victory. When we turn around and you look at Leviticus 25, that the hired servant and the oppressed servant, or the bondman, I should say, you were sold unto sin. You carnal, sold unto sin. He that commits sin is the servant of sin, and the servant abide not in the house forever. You now have to be free. So when we look at the year of Jubilee, when that trumpet blowing, then we remember what it said in Revelation chapter 20. What get cast in the lake of fire? Death and hell. You freed from that now, completely. Death is swallowed up. There is no more death. There is no more pain. There is no more tears. You are completely set free in the year of Jubilee. That's what the year of Jubilee was really pointing to you. The kingdom. Eternal life. Freedom. Complete freedom. You know what I'm saying? 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13. I don't like this book. Just don't like it. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13. But I would have not you be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Elohim bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Master, that we are alive, we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Master shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Master himself shall descend from Shamahim with a shout, and the voice of the Ark Malachim, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Then which we are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the cloud to meet the Master in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Master. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Don't you realize that Torah was a comfort, that Leviticus 25 and Deuteronomy 24 a comfort to somebody who's been in bondage? That I can be free. Because when that trumpet blowing in Jubilee, you got to set me free. Don't you realize when that trumpet... If you look at Jubilee and we look at it in English, it's something to rejoice and be happy about. Don't you think... Why you say, Lo, this is our Elohim, we have waited for him. Why do you think in Isaiah 26, it tell you talking about open the gates of the city that the people that hold the truth may enter in? Why do you think Jeremiah says them people say, Hallelujah of hosts, for Yahuwah is good and his mercy endures forever, when they're rejoicing in the land? It's Jubilee, the trumpet been blown, we set free. Not only free from the captivity of our enemies, but free from the captivity of sin and death. We're no longer holding to that anymore. We no longer die now. We've been changed and been made like the Malachim or Shamahim. We no longer die now. We no longer die now. There's no more death. There's no more pain. There's no more tears. Revelation 11 and 17. Make it 15. And then Revelation 22 and 2, or 22 and 3. And that's it. And the seventh Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in Shamahim. The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of Yahuwah and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worship Elohim, saying, We give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the Kadeshim, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them that destroy the earth. And the temple of Elohim was opened in Shamahim, and there was seen in the temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings, and voices, and thunderings, and earthquake, and great hail. Leave that alone, Lizzie. 22 and 3. That ain't to play with. 22 and 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, on the either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations, and there shall be no more curse. So again, we established what the curse is. Niggas so dumb, it's not talking about no more curse of the law, it's no more death. But the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads, and there shall be no night there, and there shall be, they have no need, they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for Yahuwah Elohim give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said unto me, these sayings are faithful and true. Yahuwah Elohim of the Kadesh prophet sent his Malachim to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done. Behold, I come quickly. Baruch is he that keep the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Hallelujah for Yahushua. You start right about that. Y'all understood all that the other day?